Hi all, hope you're well. It is Arsh Ellahi, and today we've got a session on finding motivated sellers in a booming market, should I say. Before we do that, just want to say a quick hello. You're going to hear some banging and some other noises in the background. I do want to apologise before that from the outset, and the reason why I say that is because I'm actually on site on a property that I've just taken on. And I'm going to be talking to you about the property itself and the vision, where it's come from, how I appraised it, how I negotiated the deal, and you would tell me, hopefully, whether you think it's a good deal or not. So before we do that, can you just let me know that you can hear me nice and loudly and clearly, please? Just give me a quick hello, just say that you're there, and that'd be fantastic, and let's get moving forward. So okay, let's get moving on. Let's just say, brilliant. So Demi saying hello, Suki saying hello, Hamid saying yes, brilliant. So Vera says that the sound's very low. I'm going to try and do what I can. As you can appreciate, I'm working off mobile data here. Our actual project hasn't got Wi-Fi yet. We're expecting Wi-Fi to turn up on Tuesday, so I'm actually doing this off mobile data. So I'm trying to make the best with what we've got. We've got builders. So it's 7 p.m. on a Sunday evening. We've got builders on site. We've got decorators on site. We've got electricians on site, and that's quite unheard of for 7 p.m. on a Sunday. And we're all pulling and pushing together to try and get the project ready. So I'm hoping that by the time we finish this webinar, we'll be a little bit closer. So let's get moving on. How to find motivated sellers in a booming market. Before we do that, I want to say a quick thank you for trusting me with your time this afternoon. I appreciate Sunday evening. I appreciate there's lots of things that you can be doing, but this is going to be the best 60 to 90 minutes that you would have spent, which will hopefully have given you a new skill. You would have learned a new skill for you to implement as quick as tomorrow. So by the end of this session, I hope that you'll know how to get started in property with no money and no experience, how to make cash flow from simply controlling properties, and how to find vendors direct and negotiate the best deals. Now, whilst I'm going through this, the start of this presentation, I'd like you, if possible, just to give us in the message box, just write down what your experience is with property. So who are you, where you're from, and what's your experience? Have you got any experience in properties? Do you own any properties? Have you got any rent to rents, or have you sourced any properties? Just give me an indication, or if you want, you can say beginner, expert, intermediate, whatever it may be. So who is Arsh Ellahi? Why should you be spending your Sunday evening with me? So first and foremost, I'm the founder of the Property Investor app, which is the UK's first property investment marketplace mobile application. I'm a property investor. I'm a property sourcer. I'm the UK's leading deal trader, sourcing in excess of 500 properties per year. And I'm an author and feature writer in two very well-known monthly publications, which is YPN magazine and the HMO magazine. And I'm a #1 Amazon bestseller of a book called Boom, Bust and Back Again. And I'm a property trainer, which has helped hundreds of people achieve financial freedom. Before we do all that, though, I want to say that first and foremost, I'm a property investor, which means that my main income, and more importantly, my main focus in property investment, I'm consistently buying properties. I'm consistently looking for opportunities, and this is why people kind of align themselves with me, because I'm not just a person that talks it, I'm a person that actually walks it. As I said, this webinar, I'm actually on a building site right now on Sunday evening, 7 p.m. with the contractors to ensure that we deliver this project on time, within budget, to a phenomenal standard. So right, so let's get moving on. I also in lockdown, released a podcast which became a top 10 podcast in the property industry. It's called The Property Rebel. If you haven't already listened to it, go and find it. You can find this on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, just to name a few of the places. So one of my first questions to you is, how did 2020 affect you? In terms of COVID-19, how did that affect you financially? How did that affect you? Also, I've got to ask the question, how did it affect you physically and mentally? Because that is a big part of it as well. Did you lose your income? Did your business really struggle from it? Now, when I say business struggle from it, those that were running service accommodation units, like, how did you find it? Did you struggle with trying to find people to come and rent your properties, or come and stay in your properties? Did you get furloughed? Did some of your tenants get furloughed? Therefore, were they unable to pay the rent? And were you unable to open under guidelines? So I know lots of other property guys also have other interests in business, such as, I know some people that run hair salons, beauty salons, some nightclubs, etc. Were you unable to open under guidelines? The reason why I ask you all this is because property is luckily, COVID-19, coronavirus, the government was quite kind to the property industry, because although there were estate agents said that they couldn't open, it still allowed people like deal traders, deal sources, and letting agents also to continue trading. So it was a really interesting time for the property industry. If you have a look at some of the images that we've got on screen right now, here's some of the companies that didn't survive. So Go Outdoors, Topshop, Harvey's, DW Sports, the Edinburgh Woolen Mill, just to name a few. These are large high street locations that didn't survive coronavirus. You may ask the question, were they struggling prior to coronavirus, or were they was this just almost like a nail in the coffin for them? So we're going to keep going on. What are your goals for 2021? Thinking of planning for your property for 2021 and beyond. So what do you consider your goals to be? So is cash flow one of your goals? Are you looking to build assets and asset build for your family to secure your family's future? Are you looking to escape the 9 to 5? Are you looking to make property pay for luxuries such as holidays, or have more luxuries, should I say? Or trying to get your kids onto the property ladder, or create a pension pot? There's no right or wrong in any of these, because these all are very personal to you and your circumstances. So I really want you to think, when we're going through this presentation, as to what property can do for me, but more importantly, how this strategy could help me from not only a financial aspect, but also from a family and a lifestyle aspect as well. Now, how do you visualize success? Now, success comes in lots of different methods and manners. Is it owning a certain amount of properties? So you'll say, I'll only be successful if I've got 5 properties, if I own 5 properties. Or is it having the properties generate a certain amount of cash flow? So some people may say, well, I'm successful because I've got a property portfolio which is generating £2,000 a month, which allows me to live the lifestyle that I want. Or is it by sourcing a certain amount of deals? So some people may say that I need to source 1 deal a month, which is going to generate me approximately a £3,000 sourcing fee per month. The most important question, how are you going to get there? It's all very well creating these goals, but the one thing that we need to understand is the journey. We need to understand the journey and how you're going to get there, because we've got these goals. I want to create a £5,000 a month cash flow from my property portfolio. Now, that's the destination. We need to understand how that journey is going to be. Is it going to create that you're going to get rent-to-rent properties? Is it going to be that you're going to acquire properties by using other people's money? So that could be that you've got JV partnerships. Could it be that you go to developments? Could it be that you just stick with, vanilla buy-to-let? And there's nothing wrong with that. Are you going to try and acquire HMOs? What is the vehicle that's going to get you to your destination? And these are the things that you've got to be asking yourself. Okay, so Hamid says, I want all of them. Now, that's great, Hamid, but you've got to initially create yourself a goal. Create yourself a goal and work towards that one goal from the outset. So if it's cash flow, set a figure. Is it £1,000 a month? Is it 2,000? Is it £5,000 a month? Then start to think about the mini steps that you're going to take. just saying that I'm going to make £5,000 a month and I want property to make that for me is too broad. I want you to then start thinking of breaking it down into mini goals. So that £5,000 a month, I'm going to try and acquire 3 properties this year. Now, okay, to acquire 3 properties, what's the next step? How are we going to acquire those 3 properties? Are we going to try and find them direct to vendor? Or are we going to deal with agents? If we're going to deal with agents, what area are we going to target? Okay, so in that area, how many agents are there? How many are we going to approach that week? Are we going to approach them by phone? Or are we going to go meet them in person? Can you see? So for every action, there's a mini action. And these are the little things that you've got to start to write down. And then at the end of every week, make yourself accountable and say, guys, okay, so this week I met with 4 agents. And then you start to look back at how that week performed. I spoke with 4 agents, 2 of them were interested. One said they'd get back to me. One's definitely very keen, or one's not, interested in working with me. And start creating yourself mini action plans. Now, my definition of success for me is living life on your own terms. So having the flexibility to work when you want, from where you want, with who you want. Now, just so you know, I'm based in Wolverhampton. I'm actually, as we speak, doing this presentation from Liverpool. I've been up in Liverpool since Thursday. I'm working on a project right now. So last week, so this all happened very quickly. So last week, it was actually a week last Thursday, a landlord contacted me and he goes, Arsh, I've got this property. It's a 3-bedroom penthouse apartment in Liverpool, right next to Liverpool train station. Literally, I can see Liverpool train station out the window that I'm looking at right now. And he goes, Arsh, I've had the property. It's been vacant since January. And we're now in May. And I said, okay, what's the story? He goes, that with COVID and all the rest of it, blah, blah, blah. It's been empty. I've been losing money for the last 5 months. And I said, okay, fine. What do you want to do? He goes, would you consider doing a lease on it? I asked him the questions about whether, there's any restrictions about service accommodation, or whether you can use it as a single let or a multi-let, or potential a short-term let. And he goes, no, that's all fine. I was previously running a service accommodation. I said, okay. So I came and viewed it last Saturday. So within a week, I've negotiated the deal. I've viewed the property. So before I came and viewed it, I got all the information. I did all my due diligence. And then I arranged to come and meet him on the Saturday. And within that same meeting, I walked away with the keys. So I took his property off him on a 7-year term. So within that period, I've done all my calculations. I've done all my research on the location, all my due diligence. I found that this is a real hot spot for service accommodation. Now, with everything that's going on in the economy right now, with lockdown easing up, and more importantly, with the staycation market booming, this is what I would consider a good opportunity. So this vendor allowed me to take the property. So we've done a agreement for 7 years on this building, where I'm paying the landlord £700 a month for a 3-bedroom penthouse in the centre of Liverpool city centre. So why would I take this property on? So when I appraised the property, I looked at all the angles. So what could happen? What could go wrong? What could go right? And more importantly, what's my backup plan? Now, my backup plan could be that I could run this very simply as a 3-bed HMO. My other backup plan could be that I could run this as a standard single let, and it would still make money. So the rent on a single let for this 3-bedroom apartment in the condition that I'm about to convert it into is going to be circa between £1,100 to £1,200 a month. Now, bear in mind that I'm paying the landlord is £700. Now, in this location, on the best case scenario, I could rent this property out on an Airbnb style basis for approximately £200 a night. So I'm looking at this from all angles. Can I run it from a service accommodation point of view. I'm looking at it from a point of view, can I run it from a HMO point of view? And in this location, rooms will fetch circa between £450 to £500 a month. So every way that I look at it, I think that there's lots of benefits from it. So can you see the angle here? I'm looking at every single angle. So what we're going to be talking about today is what is deal trading. So deal trading, very simply, is a service for homeowners, matching investors to properties which homeowners have failed to sell. It's a service to investors, helping investors find properties which they would not have found without your help. And then also it's about creating a real win-win scenario. So everyone wins. So the investor wins, the person selling their property wins, and it really does help all angles. Now, just the one thing I will say to you is that everything that we speak about today is not new. It's not rocket science. More importantly, it's a very simple process, because what we're in actual fact talking about is a system which estate agents have been using for a number of years. When we're saying that, we're talking about people who are selling their property and people who are buying their property. And in actual fact, a deal sourcer, a deal trader, a deal packager, regardless what you want to call yourself, we are in essence a glorified form of an estate agent. We seek to find people who are trying to sell their property. And then we also seek to try and find people who want to buy property. And we act as an intermediary agent. And it really is as simple as that. I don't want to try and glamorize it or, make this any harder than we need to. So does that make sense? So we've got lots of people online. We've got people from the other side of the world. So hi, Ernie. Hope you're well. So let's keep moving on. So I'm going to talk to you very quickly about some goals that I set myself in 2019. In 2019, we traded over £54 million worth of property, more than most estate agents would sell in a year. And this is me acting as a one-man band, selling deals to my database from my mobile phone. This was going back to 2019. In 2020, I had some massive goals. I wanted to trade over 1,000 properties in 2020. Now, that is a lot of property. That's 100 properties a month, which is equivalent to 3 a day, 3 to 4 properties a day. So, but the problem that we had was that COVID happened. COVID happened and literally brought the property market to a standstill. So, got lots, I had some great goals, and unfortunately, they didn't happen in 2020. I don't mind saying that. One of the things in business is that you've got to set yourself goals. You won't hit all of them. You'll hit some of them, and you can see that I've put my business goals on the screen. I've also put my personal goals on the screen. So I was due to do an Ironman in the UK that got cancelled due to COVID. I did do the Ironman in Oman, which is in Muscat, and I completed that in February 2020. So my main goal and my main purpose and part of the destination is a property investor app to make it the UK's marketplace for property investment deals, and that is still work in progress. So for 2021, taken into consideration that COVID is still there and it is still playing a part in restricting us slightly, I've set my goals that I want to trade 500 properties in 2021 and become the largest well-known deal trader in the UK, and again for the destination to make the UK's the property investor app the UK's marketplace for property investment deals. And I'm going to complete the Ironman, which is due to happen on, I believe, the 4th of July, Sunday the 4th of July in the UK. So let's look at the principles of deal trading. There are three main parties involved in deal trading. You've got the vendor, which is the owner who needs help selling their property, or it could have been an agent who has tried to sell the property for the last 3 months. I'm going to use the words vendor, owner, and agent, and they are pretty much all in the same category. Then you've got the sourcer. This is you. This is you as a person who is the best person to understand investment properties and also has the ability to match make the property to the right investor. And then finally, you've got the investor. This is the person who purchases the property which meets their criteria And as a result of that, they pay you a fee for your service. So does everyone now understand the three principles of deal trading before we move on? So when we look at the three people in the transaction, we've got the vendor, we've got the sourcer, and we've got the investor. The most important person in this transaction is the vendor. Well, there's two really important people in the transaction. There's the vendor, and then there's the investor, who is the purchaser. You can refer to them as the buyer and the seller. The seller, the person owns the property, that's selling the property. You need to understand what is their pain and what is their motivation. Why are they selling this property? The one thing I will say to you very firmly from the outset is that don't always believe that money is a motivator when someone's selling their property. It could be a number of reasons. People upsize, people downsize, people go through marital situations, they go through issues in life. And this part of it could be financial, other parts may not be financial. You need to understand the reason and get to the root of the problem, which will then allow you to create and add value to the transaction, which will make this deal, which will make your deal the best deal that you've got. So it then comes from the vendor, understanding their pain and their motivation. You then understand how can you add value to this property. So there's lots of scenarios where I've been and the vendor wants to do a deal, but they may not be able to sell their property to me for the price that I'm after. So therefore, I've been able to restructure the deal in a different manner. So normally, if I look at a property, I want to try and acquire it below market value. Sometimes my offer is maybe slightly lower than what they can accept. So we structure the deal. So we potentially look at other options where we could exchange and delay the completion, where we could set it up as a rent to rent or also a lease option. We can do an assisted sale on it. There's lots of different ways that you can structure deals, and it's about understanding the different methods. As a result of that, the way that you structure the deal will then also pay dividends in the way that you present the opportunity to your buyer or your investor, who hopefully, after looking at it, says, you know what, to be fair, and let's just use Bill as an example here. Bill, I've seen the property, I understand the property, I really like the property, I want to buy the property. So you've got to ask yourself the question, why would they buy this property from you? And they would buy the property off you because it makes financial and commercial sense. And that is probably the best way of describing it. You know, the investor has looked at it, they liked it, and they want to buy it. So why do I love deal trading? And very simply and very selfishly, I get to see all the best deals first. That's the main reason why I got into deal trading. I was sick of waiting in the pecking order from the estate agent. I was waiting for the estate agent to call me. I was waiting for the agent to call me and say, I've got this deal, you know, would you be interested in it? I thought, no, I'm going to get myself ahead of that curve, and I want to see all the best deals first. And as a result of that, that's why I love deal trading. When I look at it and think, well, okay, is this something that I would invest in myself personally? If not, I will then try and monetize it, and I will put it out to my investors. Other reasons why I love deal trading, like I said, I first want to see the deal myself. I don't have to deal with tenants. There's no maintenance calls. There's no bank borrowings, because you're not buying the property. You're simply facilitating the sale. So it's 100% hands-free investing. You're not tying up any money. You're dealing with any property in any town, city, or country all over the world. You can start and stop it whenever you require. It can be done from anywhere around the world. All you need is a mobile phone and a laptop. And I'll talk to you about a gentleman that deal trades with me, and he's actually based in Saudi Arabia, and he deal trades and finds property in the UK. And sourcing does not have to stop at property. The skill can be used to source almost anything. More importantly, because you're not buying the property, there's no need for any solicitors, there's no need for any surveyors, there's no need for any refurbishment works or builders or contractors. Like I say, as I record this, I'm sat in Liverpool. In the other room, I've got my builders and contractors. I'll tell you what, guys, I'm not sure if this would work, but do you guys want to see a quick snippet? I'm happy to open up the camera so that you can see where I am, and I can give you a quick walk around the building. Do you want me to do that? Just give me a quick yes or no. Okay, so does everyone want okay, so I'm going to stick my hat back on because, believe it or not, I'm on a building site. Let's have a quick look. So here we are, guys. So I'm in sunny Liverpool, and you can see behind me, we've got all of our furniture. You can see the builders' materials there. Let's go have a little walk. I've never done this before on a webinar, so believe it or not, this is actually one of the bedrooms. We've got all the furniture here. So I'm just going to ask the guys to see this is live. So, sorry, there's decorator. Hi, Lise.
Hi.
So let's keep moving on. And then we've got Tommy deciding to have his. So here we are. Hello, Tom.
All right.
All right, it's pizza time. It's dinner time. And then we've got some builders. We've got a building electrician there. The Midlands best electrician, self-proclaimed. And then, believe it or not, I've actually got my wife over there in the kitchen. So this is all of her designs, and we've actually got a swing in the apartment, which has all been put in today. So we've got lots of feature walls. We actually, when I say we, me and the builder, we built that table yesterday. So there we go. Just trying it out. And then, sorry, Lise, do you mind? No, actually, I'm not going to disturb you because you're painting. So up the stairs there, it's a double story. It's a mezzanine flat, so we've got 2 other bedrooms upstairs and a bathroom. So there we have it, guys. Would you prefer that I kept the camera on for the presentation? Just give me a quick yes or no. That'd be good. Let's keep moving on with the presentation. Never done that before. Never ever done that before. Right. Okay. So. Right. Okay. Brilliant. So everyone really liked that. So let's get moving on then. So the reason why I said there's no risk, you don't own anything, so there's nothing that can go wrong. When I say you don't own it, you don't own the asset. Worst case scenario, you don't purchase the property. Worst case scenario, you go back to the vendor and say, okay, the investor didn't like the property, and you use this opportunity to then go and renegotiate the deal. So if you thought that you had it at a great price before and the investor hasn't taken it, and you can go back and say, well, I'll tell you what, here's what we can do. You know, the investor may take it if we can consider this price, and you know, use this as your point to renegotiate the deal. I'll talk to you about a couple of guys throughout the whole presentation. Now, this guy, Temel, young lad based in Wolverhampton, and he just called me. He goes, Arsh, I really want to get involved in property. Haven't got the funds to buy the property at the moment. And he goes, but I do want to get involved. And I'll go, okay, fine. And we started talking about deal trading. And within a very short space of time, he actually did 6 deals. So I'll show you some of the deals that he's done. First one is HMO sale. HMO in Hull, fully tenanted, income producing. It came via an estate agent via Rightmove. Took him approximately 2 hours to source, analyze, call the agent and get the exclusivity and package it up. And he sold it through my database within 7 days. We charged a £4,000 fee for that property. Just so that you know, all the properties that I show you or that we discuss here, he has not viewed a single one of them. Now, with deal sourcing and deal trading, you don't need to go and view the properties. We make the agents on the ground in the location, or we make the vendor send us all the information that we need. So it's a very simple process. Deal number 2 was a HMO in Wolverhampton, believe it or not. He went to the vendor on direct on that one. He proposed a solution, managed to get a 3-year rent-to-rent deal. In return, this property cash flows in excess of £550 to £600 a month. So the one thing I will say with deal sourcing, remember the reason why I got involved is because I wanted to see the best deals first. Now with Timel, he decided to keep this property himself. So you don't have to sell every deal. There's nothing to say that you have to sell every deal. You can keep some yourself, you can sell some yourself. And again, it all depends on what you want to do, what fits in with your goals. So deal number 3 was a rent-to-rent property, but this time it was a service accommodation. So very similar to the one that I'm sat in Liverpool right now. He got a 2-bedroom apartment in Birmingham city centre. He proposed a solution, again, went direct to vendor, got another 3-year rent-to-rent deal agreed, and now, again, this property produces approximately £600 a month. Property number 4 was a HMO lease option, which was a 7-bed HMO in Stoke, fully tenanted and income producing, sourced direct to vendor, never viewed it. All the pictures were provided by the vendor, and the sale was agreed within 1 day to my investor database, and we charged a £5,000 fee. Deal number 6, deal number was that, sorry, deal number 5, another HMO lease option, which is a 6-bed HMO. So it was the same vendor, 2 properties right next door to each other, fully tenanted, income producing, again, never viewed it. And again, we sold that to my investors for a £5,000 fee. HMO deal number 6, which was a HMO deal in Bridgewater. For those that don't know, Bridgewater is more down towards Somerset and Devon. Fully tenanted, income producing. Now, this was sourced via an estate agent, again via Rightmove. Took approximately 2 hours to source, analyse, and get exclusivity, and we sold it within 14 days. So not all of them sell. I'm not going to sit here and proclaim to say that all of them sell within an hour or a day. Some sell within hours, some sell within days, some take a couple of weeks. But in return, we charge another £5,000 for the fee. So can you see that Timur did not view any of these properties? He worked with local agents who were his eyes and ears on the ground, and as a result of that, he sold a property in different locations. We talked about Hull, we talked about Stoke, we talked about Wolverhampton, we talked about Birmingham, we talked about Bridgewater. These are dotted all over the country. So there's no need to be a one-trick pony. And the reason why I say the one-trick pony is a person that only looks at stuff in one angle. Now, look at every property and apply a strategy which works best for the owner and the purchaser. So if I was a person that only wanted below market value deals and I said no to every other opportunity, I would consider myself to be a one-trick pony. Now, when I talk about that, is that let's just imagine that a vendor or a seller has got a property that is worth £100,000 and I want to offer them £70,000. Now, if they've got a mortgage outstanding on that property for approximately £85,000 to £90,000, I cannot buy that property off them because they owe more on that mortgage than they can afford to sell the property to me for, or more than I want to pay. So if my strategy is only to buy that property at 25% below market value, I will then lose that lead. That there is no way about that, unless the vendor is really desperate and wants to sell me that property and is going to prepare to subsidize the sale. That is very rare, very, very rare, 1 in 100 cases. So I will lose that lead. However, if I decide to broaden my horizons and look at properties where I can offer the full market value for it because I'm going to be able to add value to it, or I can potentially look to negotiate it as a rent-to-rent deal, a lease option deal, an assisted sale deal, potentially look at whether we can get planning or whether we can exchange and delay the completion. There's so many ways that we can add value where we don't necessarily just only have to become that one-trick pony. And what I'm trying to teach you today is that there are so many strategies out there. We need to have almost like a very basic level of understanding each of the strategies so that we're able to monetize every lead. Does that make sense? Looking at this week's opportunities. Now, I said in one of my emails that I sent out this week that there's one deal that came along. It's not on the app because this is one that I'm going to do personally. Again, remember, seeing the best deals first. I want to keep this one. A lady approached me. She's got a 3-bedroom property where she's got it tenanted. She actually inherited the property. And as a result of that, she wants to sell the property. So we've had the property valued at approximately 450,000 in its current standard. I looked at it and I thought, oh, okay, this has got development potential. So we can either go out one way or we can go up another, or we can extend the kitchen, etc. And with the plans that I proposed, the end value of the property is around 750,000. In order for us to do that, it's going to take approximately 100 to 150,000 pounds worth of work. So I proposed an offer to the vendor I asked her what her motivation was. She wanted to move quickly. Price was not always the motivator, so I proposed my offer. We proposed almost like a 25% below market value offer, and our offer was agreed at 350,000, which is 150,000 below the current value. Below value. As a result of that, my architect is now drawing up the plans where we're going to extend to the rear, we're going to extend to the side, and we're then going to try and develop that property and sell it with a full market value of 750,000. As a result of that, if my projections are correct, we should net around £200,000 for that property. £200,000 profit from that property, and that will be done within circa 6 to 12 month period. I'll do that as well as doing all the other deals. So remember, it's not always just about just doing one thing, it's about doing multiple things and having multiple levels of income. So going back to this week's deals, so we've sold we haven't sold that one yet. 14-bedroom property in West Brom. The two 1-bedroom flats, which is a rent-to-rent deal in Birmingham, they've sold. We've sold 3-year rent-to-rent, a rent-to-SA opportunity in Surrey, sold. 9-bed HMO in Oldham, sold. So these are all the deals that have gone. And if you have a look at the fees that we're charging on these, so the Caroline Street, they were £2,500 plus VAT each, so that was 6,000 for that deal. I think it was 3,000 plus VAT on that one. That was 7,000 plus VAT on that one. So that's 8, 14, that's about 20,000 just in those deals, and they're just part of them. And then we've got the 3-bed in, it's a modernisation, it's a development opportunity in Wales. That one's sold, so that was £3,000 plus VAT. This was another 2-bedroom apartment in Birmingham, which was a rent to SA, that has sold. 8-bedroom terrace house, which is in Walsall. That's currently, we've got current negotiation on that, not currently gone yet. And then finally, sorry, I'll put that Oldham one on twice. So yeah, so that one, as I said, has gone. So if you tally up the amount of deals that we do in a week and the fees that you can generate, it's actually quite an amount. Now, the reason why I'm talking about the market is because with deal trading, you can trade in all different sectors. So whether you've got the boom, whether you, at the moment, as you can see, we're currently going through a mini property boom, prices have increased. And as a result of that, it doesn't change for property traders or property sources exactly the same the way that it doesn't trade for estate agents. In a good market, sellers are in control and the prices continue to increase. In the bad market, the bust, buyers are in control as properties struggle to sell. And then finally, you've got the trader or the sourcer, and all we do, or the agent, we literally adjust our pricing according to the economic climate. So regardless what happens, whether it goes up or down, we are not affected. The good thing with a deal sourcer or a deal trader is that, generally speaking, we'll be a one-man band or a small company, and we won't have the overheads like estate agents will have. Estate agents may have a shop front presence, they'll have employees and infrastructure, whereas with a deal sourcer, it's literally a one-man band, a laptop, and a mobile phone. So we've got lots of uncertainty that's going in the market. So we've got COVID, we've got the coronavirus, we've got Section 24, we've got Brexit. These are all the things. Now, Brexit's taken a bit of almost like a bit of a backstage whilst COVID-19 came into play. So we don't know what's going to happen with property prices. They continue to increase. With Section 24, we're seeing more landlords sell up and exit the market. Interest rates, will they remain at all-time low? Are they going to increase at any point? With regards to the economy, how will the UK adjust after leaving with Brexit? We still don't know about that as well. How we will deal with after COVID-19. Will businesses be desperate to start again? These are all questions that we're still yet to answer. COVID-19 gave the world a massive kicking and brought it down to its knees. Everyone knows this. But as a result of this, it will produce, as a property sourcer or as a property investor, it will produce an abundance of opportunities. So some investors will sell, lots of investors will buy. We're waiting, prices continue to increase. As we say, what goes up must come down. So as a result of that, you'll see lots of opportunities come our way. So as a sourcer, remember, you're not buying it, you're simply facilitating the sale. Now, here's some real stats for you from this year. Rightmove confirmed that there are 53,000 estate agents in the UK, and the average charge is around 1% plus VAT for a sale. Now, the reason why I say that is because if you have a look, is that other than 2014, between 2014 and 2017, we're at the high, almost like the highest point for estate agents. Now, when an estate agent, I'm just trying to think the best way of putting this. Just imagine that you're an estate agent. How do estate agents make their money? Estate agents make their money from selling property. The more properties they sell, the more commission they generate. So they work on 1% plus VAT for a sale. The average fee is 1% plus VAT. So if an estate agent sells a house for £100,000, they get, circa £1,000. Some of them may have a minimum charge, but generally it's around 1%. But if Rightmove confirmed that there's over 800,000 properties for sale throughout the UK. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this statistic is because as a deal sourcer, you want a piece of that pie. The reason why I say this, and I'm very clear in saying that, we can all go and chase vendors to try and get the best deals. However, a vendor will only have one property for sale. Now, an estate agent will have, circa 20, 30, 40, 50 properties on their books in that location. So why would you not try and formalize an agreement or a relationship with an agent so that you can do multiple deals and create a pipeline of deals with an agent? Does that make sense? As a result of that, instead of just having to put out a load of leaflets and a load of letters to try and tout or find one landlord for that one deal, and give you an example of that, that deal that we talked about just a few minutes ago, where I'm going to convert that property and generate £200,000 in profit. That is a needle in a haystack. They don't come along every day. However, you only need one of those deals, for you to, in essence, become financially free. But when you work with an estate agent, you should be able to see lots of these deals all over the country. So fill your funnel so that every month there's deals coming in, monetizing in. And I don't mind sharing with you. I'll share something with you. Out of all the deals that we've done this week, that one is direct to vendor. That one is an agent. That one is an agent. That one is direct to vendor. That one is an agent. That one is an agent. That one is an agent. Now, if you notice that the majority of the deals that we get are through estate agents. And the reason why I like working with agents is because they can feed me stock day in, day out. So let's look at methods to source deals direct to vendors. So you can use social media. So we can use social media. We can put up Facebook ads. We can put up YouTube ads. We can put up Google ads. And we can target people that are looking to downsize, upsize, people going through divorce, people who have passed away recently. COVID-19, you've seen that there's a statistic out there showing how many bungalows that are for sale because older people, the older generation, have passed away. They've left assets such as bungalows for sale, and there's a glut of bungalows that are actually on the market right now. Not many people know that statistic. You can actually write letters to houses with for sale or to rent boards outside. Now, how do we find their details? You can go to Land Registry, you can pay £3, and you can find the vendor's details. And as a result of that, you can actually write a letter to them and say, guys, hi, my name is Viv. I'm a property investor. I'm looking to purchase properties in this location. I appreciate that you've got property to sell. Would you entertain a conversation? And here's my contact details. I'm happy to be contacted anytime, blah, 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 and send the letter to them. That's very easy. Just something to bear in mind is that in order for you to do that strategy, it's going to cost a bit of money. You're going to have to download the details from Land Registry for £3. You're then going to have to write a letter. You're going to have to post it to them. You're now banking on the fact that they're going to respond back to you. There's no guarantee that they're going to respond back to you. Is that going to take, when will they respond? Is it going to be next week? Is it going to be next month? Is it going to be next year? Or are they going to respond to you a full stop? There's no guarantee. You can meet lots of vendors at networking meetings. You can meet lots of landlords on property forums. You can send out, thousands of leaflets. You can start targeting your leaflets and your message according to the supermarkets. I used to advertise very heavily at supermarkets, and it did really, really well. But again, going back to the point, do you want to chase one deal or do you want to chase 10 deals? Because on the other side of the coin, you've got estate agents, you've got letting agents, you've got auction houses, and these guys are already done all the hard work for you because they've spent time, money, and effort marketing to get vendors to come to them. Now, as a result of that, all you have to do is liaise and work with the estate agents, and as a result of that, sell their property for them to your investors, where they still make their money off the seller and you make your money off the buyer. And it really is as simple as that. If you go to an estate agent and you say to them, guys, okay, you've done a fantastic job, you've got a great property here, I've got a property investor that may be interested in this property. Now, if we could structure it where you still make your money off the seller and I make my money off the buyer, and I find you a buyer for your property, what do you think the estate agent is going to say? They're not losing any commission, they're not doing any work, but yet they're still being paid exactly the same. Does that make sense? Think of it from an estate agent's point of view. They don't need to do any work because you're going to find the buyer, and they're going to make an exact sorry, Jake, just so everyone else just confirm that they can hear me nice and clearly. Just say yes or no, please. No one else has mentioned anything otherwise, but Jake, so everyone can say that they can hear. So Jake, log yourself out, log yourself back in, and you should be good to go. Okay, so from an estate agent, think about it. If you can then approach, how many agents did I say there were in the country, and how many properties have they all got? So you'll never be short of deals. That's why I'm a big advocate. I'm a big advocate for working with agents who are going to find me multiple deals. And more importantly, they're spending all their money on the marketing. They're doing all the hard work, finding vendors with the properties. All I have to do is be able to find them, find the best angle for it, and then sell them to my investors. And one thing I say, again, go back to the one-trick pony. If you're a one-trick pony, you will be stuck in your tracks because no two transactions will ever be the same. You have to look at every property and apply a strategy which works best for the owner and the purchaser. Remember, when you're working with an agent, you need to make sure that they are motivated and monetized. You have to make sure that it works for them and it also works for you. So you look at every property and you apply a strategy which works best for them. So we look at the angles. Is it a below market value opportunity? Is it a rent-to-rent opportunity? Is it a lease option opportunity? Is it an assisted sale? Is it an exchange delay completion? Or could you do something like a planning game? More importantly, all the information that you require is all online because the agent's done all the work for you. So we've got all these fantastic tools such as Rightmove, Zoopla, On the Market, Spare Room, Open Rent, Gumtree, eBay, and so many more. I've only just given you an example of the most common ones there. So here's a lady. Oh, so here's a couple actual. I'm going to give you a quick case study. Colin and Ange Leslie, they joined a program that I run called the EPT in 2017. no knowledge of property investing, and certainly no knowledge of deal sourcing. So with the weekly webinars, they learned so much, but more importantly, they learned that property is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So I'm going to talk to you about, I don't like reading whole testimonials and stuff like that, but here's a property that they saw. So there I am in the picture. Here's a property. So you can go to our website, which is tincroftcottage.co.uk. So Colin bought me a property, and he goes, oh, she goes, I found this property. Believe it or not, this property was actually on eBay. And he goes, I found the property. I've spoken to the vendor direct, and he's prepared to do a deal. He's happy to sell the property below market value. And I said to Colin, what's the reason for him selling the property? He goes, the owner is actually based in Tokyo. And I said, okay, but the property is in Cornwall. He goes, yes. He goes, that he's sick of managing agents. He's sick of not being able to manage it and find someone to run the property effectively for him. So he's going to sell it. And I said to Colin, I said, can we structure this in a slightly different way? But I want to get this guy on a Skype call and let's have a chat with him. So I've got him on a call, and lo and behold, I structured a deal with him on a 10-year lease option. So we've got, if you don't know what a lease option is, it's a rent to rent with the option to purchase. I structured it as a lease option because I always love the thought of having a second holiday home. Remember, property for me is a lifestyle choice. And I want to be able to be in a position where I take properties on and I can utilize them myself. So the property that I'm currently at in Liverpool on site, we're going to be using this not only as a service accommodation unit, but also as a getaway. So as you can see that we're doing it to quite a high standard. We're using it as a getaway so that this could be almost like a staycation for us. Once a month we come and spend a weekend here, etc. But it's not costing us anything. Now, we did the same with Cornwall. So we agreed a 10-year lease option with the vendor. We rent it out on Airbnb. We give the landlord a guaranteed rent. Over the next 10 years, we've got the option to purchase in there. And it makes us approximately £2,000 a month cash flow from that one property alone. So when he first approached us, he wanted to sell it below market value because he was motivated. I looked at the root of the issue. And as a result of looking at understanding what he wanted really, he just wanted a guaranteed income. So we gave him that as a solution where it worked for him and it also works for us. I've now got a second holiday home. The investor, the owner has now got a guaranteed income. The sourcer, we paid the sourcer a fee as a result of that, and it works extremely well. There's lots of other properties. So here's another property, a 6-bed HMO with a 1-bedroom flat. Been vacant 3 years due to lack of funds. They didn't have the funds to do the work. You can see all the fridges, and it was just in a derelict state. We agreed a 7-year rent-to-rent deal, a 3-month rent-free period, and the potential option to purchase in the future. And again, this produces, well, it produces a little bit more than that. It produces in excess of £1,500 a month. Initially offered for sale, but structured as a rent-to-rent deal. Wouldn't have been possible if I did not have the skills to source the deals. Is this all making sense, by the way, guys? So with the Elite Property Tribe, I'll just give you a quick rundown. So it's a program that I run. It's a 52-week program, and part of it, there's 3 parts of it. So it's community, mentorship, and part of it is being in the community, and it's a hand-holding experience where we literally hold, you're accountable for it every step of the way. So, want more case studies? There's over 200 properties on the Property Investor app, all sourced by myself and other EPT members. So you can visit the propertyinvestorapp.co.uk, or you can, it's available on app stores by searching Property Investor. Some of the other deals that we've done across the country, we've got properties in Wolverhampton, Hull, Berkshire, Burnley, Gateshead, Staffordshire, Hull again, and Doncaster. Properties up north, I appreciate we do get quite a large number of properties up north, but that's just the nature of the beast. They're cheaper, the cash flow is high, and I don't mind saying that investors like it because they're cash flow high and they are cheaper to buy. So moving on, talking about the Elite Property Tribe, as I mentioned, I run a program only twice a year, and it's called the Elite Property Tribe. And the aim of it is to make every investor that joins the program to become an all-rounded property investor and understand every property, every strategy. It's an online training program, so it's 52 modules of online training. And in there, we teach you how to source all different kinds of cash flow strategies, such as deal trading, rent to rent, lease options, HMO, service accommodation, and commercial to residential developments. The reason why we teach you these is so that every time you look at a property, you should be able to be in a position to provide a solution and to add value to the property. So here is just some of the modules that you'll see. So we have got a full breakdown of 52 modules. So you can watch them as quickly as you want or as slowly as you want. You can watch them as many times as you want. Each topic has training videos and tutorials covering all aspects of property to give you everything that you need to excel. I also give you all the documents and all the spreadsheets that you need. More importantly, every fortnight, we have a deal clinic, which is live with me direct, which is a webinar. So every Monday, generally between 7 and 9 p.m. Sorry, not every Monday, every fortnight on a Monday, we have a deal clinic. This is where you may turn around and say, Arsh, I've spoke to this vendor, he's interested, but I'm not sure how to structure the deal. This is where I say to you, okay, let's have a look at the deal. Let's structure the deal in a slightly different way. And this is where you bring your problems. As well as that, we have a WhatsApp group where you daily you tell us about the deals that you're looking at, and more importantly, you can book 10-minute calls with me every day. So between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. I have a call booking session where if you've got a property that you want to discuss, you can talk. If you don't want to wait a fortnight for the deal clinic, you can call me pretty much Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. As well as that, you have the ability to book a day in the office with me. So as many days in the office with me, providing that we can fit you in within the diary of all the other members as well. And the aim within that day is to teach you how to become a yes machine. So here's a person, top right hand corner is a guy called Jay Uday. He came on a one day into the office one day. He had no property experience, no money to invest. He became an EPT member, and he previously was a full-time teacher. And within that day, he negotiated two HMO deals, sourced and packaged the deals, sold them to investors, and made approximately £10,000 in fees in one day. As well as that, we actually, sorry, the date's wrong on this, but we actually start the program with a 30 deals in 30 days challenge, which means that I want you to get your first deal within 30 days. And we've got specific modules on 30 deals, 30 days, understanding what is a deal, how to appraise this deal, how to negotiate the deal, and how to package the deal. And that will be the first, we created the first day on the phones, which is a one-day intensive program on Friday, the 11th of June, only available to EPT members. On that day, it's a day of looking for deals, a day of speaking with vendors and agents, a day of appraising deals, a day calculating the return on investments and yields, a day looking at the hotspots and looking at the supply and demand, a day working in groups with fellow EPT members, and that is going to be on Friday, the 11th of June. As well as being part of the EPT, you get all the key benefits of joining, which is you get to use get access to my network of professionals, such as my access to my team of solicitors, accountants, mortgage brokers, and tax advisors. You get access to access and support to me directly. Oh, apologies. Where you have daily call sessions to discuss property related questions. You have contracts, templates and spreadsheets all available. And you get to sell deals to my database of 100,000 investors. More importantly, as a result of learning everything that you're going to learn, you don't need to make any of the mistakes that I already have made. You've got a proven success record and highly regarded, and you'll be highly regarded in the industry. Finally, the sessions that you have they'll all be recorded modules, and every fortnight there will be a deal clinic, and then there's 4 exclusive live meetups that we have in Wolverhampton or Birmingham with keynote speakers. So I've kind of talked to you about what it is. So I'll always be by your side. So if you've just been to see a deal and you want to have a chat about it, you book a call with me and let's discuss it there and then. If it is really personal, you'll have if it is really urgent, you'll always have my personal mobile number. We have the fortnightly live webinars. Sorry, it's not weekly, it's fortnightly live webinars, which are the deal clinics. You'll have help with me negotiating. So there's lots of people that come to me and say, "Oh, okay, I've seen this deal. I've spoken to the agent, but they don't really get it. Are you happy for me to come on the call?" I always jump on the call with them and we go through that process with them. We've got the private WhatsApp group, we've got a private Facebook group, we've got EPT Learning Journal. EPT Learning Journal is a document where you've got to pretty much upload every time you make a call to an agent. It's an accountability journal. So you can literally make a note of everyone that you spoke to, so I can see what you've done that week. And then you've got the EPT platform, which is I've got over 400 hours worth of recordings on the platform. So here's some of the Facebook posts. Here's the accountability journal. So with the accountability journal, you can see what your outcomes are, but more importantly, the week accountability journal. So you put in there, what have you learned this week? How many people have you called? How many people have you called? What was the outcome of that call? And more importantly, what's the follow-up of that call? So again, part of the EPT is to understand the 6 different cash flow strategies: deal trading, rent to rent, lease options, HMO, service accommodation, commercial to residential. And to find out more about these programs, you can go to bit.ly/join the EPT or bit.ly/EPT info. So to join the EPT, just to recap, it's 52 modules on online training. The full cost of the course is £6,000. However, to join, you don't need to pay £6,000. You initially pay £3,000, which is 50%, and then the other £3,000 is only paid once you succeed and you have done deals. Now, the initial £3,000 can be paid in one payment, or you can pay in 12 monthly payments. It's slightly more expensive with monthly payments because there are 12 credit card transactions that will take place, which means that we get charged for 12 transactions. So either £3,000 upfront or 12 payments of £350 a month if you can't pay in full from the outset. So give you 12 almost like 2 different options to be able to succeed. More importantly, why don't you allow the EPT to fund these deals, to fund these payments for you? So again, to go and find out more, you can go to bit.ly/EPT info, or you can join straight away by going bit.ly/join the EPT. Whether you want to join in one payment or whether you want to join in 12 monthly payments, you've got the links right there. Just whilst we're at this point, I'm going to open it up to questions. Has anyone got any questions that they want to ask? Let's just have a quick look at. So Bo says okay. So Hamid says that is complete starter. Move him. Okay. Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask about deal sourcing, deal trading? So Suki says, Suki, I own 2 properties, would like to convert it into a HMO. So Suki, there's nothing stopping you from converting it into a HMO. A couple of things that I would suggest is that you look at, is your area an Article 4 area? Is your which may or may not restrict you depending on your location. So a couple of questions that have come in. Do I need to be compliant to become a deal sourcer? Yes, you do. So if you're going to deal source and sell the deal to your own investors, then you will need to become fully compliant, and that means that you have to be registered with the PRS, the Property Redress Scheme, the TPO. Not the TPO. You need to become registered with anti-money laundering regulations. You have to have ICO, which is Information Commissions Officer, and just get some insurances for public indemnity insurance. So Gavin says, do you do rent to rent to social housing? So yes, so basically you can do rent to rent and then rent it to social housing, and that's, you know, supported living is a big thing right now. It's not something that I kind of cover as a module. However, I've got other members in the group that are doing it very successfully. So that there are people that I can put you in contact with. So how do you set up a service accommodation company? Well, it's very simple, believe it or not, because a lot of the work is actually done by other platforms such as Airbnb and Booking.com. You, in essence, just need to get the property set up to a certain standard so that it appeals to your clientele. Okay, so Thomas said, hi, hi Arsh, you spoke much about getting the deals from vendors. You haven't spoken much about piling up a list of investors. So Thomas, okay, so selling deals to investors, believe it. So deal sourcing is almost like a double-edged sword. You need to find deals, and then you also need to have investors. Now, just so you know, Thomas, it's quite easy to find investors. You very easily could build a database of investors simply by going on social media, whether this be Facebook, whether it be LinkedIn. Not so sure about Instagram, possibly. But alternatively, there's so many different ways to build investors. You can go to landlords meetings, you can go to landlords forums, you can go to, you know, in lockdown, you've had all these opportunities to attend virtual, you know, meetings. These are all different ways that you can build your network. So finding investors is not really the hardest thing. Believe it or not, the hardest thing is finding the property. If the property deal is good enough, it will actually sell itself. Okay, so Gavin says, once you're compliant with rent to rent, will you then be able to be compliant with deal sourcing? So rent to rent, in essence, Gavin, to become compliant for rent to rent, you only really need the property redress scheme. I doubt you would have registered for anti-money laundering for rent to rent. So there are a few other steps. It's very easy to do to become compliant. So believe it or not, compliance is just a load of paperwork. It takes approximately, you know, a day to do the paperwork, and you can you then just rely on other people. So Ernie says, can I change a guest house to SA? All the bedrooms are en suite but shared. So if you've already got a guest house, in essence, yes, you can, Ernie. There's no reason why you can't. All the bedrooms are en suite but shared kitchen, dining room, and living room. That's fine. You know, with service accommodation, what you could probably do, you don't necessarily have to. I'm just trying to think what the best way. You've got the dining room and living room. Okay, so it is possible for you to convert that. You may need to just change it slightly, whether you're going to look at, are you going to offer food and catering, or whether you're going to just do simply where you're just going to offer them room to stop at. So it is definitely possible. So RB said, you pay business rates or council rates on service accommodation, which better to pay? So just so you know, the guys that were on service accommodation in lockdown, the guys that were on business rates were the ones that survived, because when you're on business rates, you got the support of the government. The guys that were paying council tax did not. And as a result of that, they ended up handing a lot of their properties back. So I've answered a lot of the questions there. So I suppose what I'm going to say to you is, do something today that your future self will thank you for, because it's the things that you do. Like I said, for me, property is a lifestyle business. I choose the properties that I want to take on. This property that we've got in Cornwall is a lifestyle. The one that we've taken on here in Liverpool is a lifestyle. We're spending a little bit more on it because these are properties that we want to come and stand in and stay in ourselves. So on the weekend, we want to escape. Again, there are lots of other people that I can speak to you about. Sandeep Baines, she became part of the tribe 3 years ago. No property experience, facing some difficult times. With Arsh's hands-on mentorship and guidance, as well as supportive community, I was able to both learn both the soft and hard skills required to turn this around, become a successful HMO owner and a deal sourcer. This also provided funds that I needed to pursue other aspirations. And then we've got Christos. Christos is doing a number of deals all over the country. So currently he's got a deal going on in Torquay. He's got a deal going on in Hull. He's got a deal, believe it or not, going on in Queen's Park in London. Got another deal going on in Somerset. So he's got a number of deals going through. So a very successful guy at deal trading. Here's another lady called Priscilla. Priscilla has learned all the different skills, all the different property strategies to be confident in talking to anyone about them. She goes, I've met some great people who've become friends and colleagues. I would definitely recommend anyone joining to seriously who's serious about making a career in property. Arsh is always available to guide you through any challenges you face, as there are many others in the WhatsApp group. So again, as part of the Property Tribe member, you can use the leverage of the Property Investor app to negotiate your deals with vendors and agents. Become that go-to person in your area. And finally, there's the links to join. So how to join the Elite Property Tribe? You can go to bit.ly/EPT info. If you want more info, if you want to join with one payment, you can go to bit.ly/join the EPT, which is all case sensitive. So join the EPT is in capitals. And then to join with monthly payments, you go to bit.ly/EPT monthly. So are there any other questions, guys? So I'll leave that up for a second whilst we've got a couple of questions, and I'll put my contact details on the screen. Any other questions, please feel free to reach out and have a chat. You know, if you're considering joining the EPT, or if you want some more information about the EPT, or whether you're not sure whether the EPT is right for you or not, feel free to get in contact and let's have a chat. So there we have it, guys. You've got my office address there. You've got my office phone number. Feel free to give us a call during the week, Monday to Friday. Or if you want to drop me a quick email, you're more than welcome to have a chat. You know, drop me an email. I'll respond with any questions that you may have. So, okay. So Thomas said, sorry, can you just put that back up? So Thomas said, do you have to show estate agents the bank statements of investors? No, because remember, when you're approaching them, when you're approaching the agents, you won't have your investor ready for that property yet. You need to find the property and then find the investor. Martin says, more information on compliance, please. So in order to become compliant, you need to be registered with the Property Redress Scheme. It costs approximately £100 a year. The ICO, which is the Information Commissions Officer, which is about £40 a year. Anti-money laundering regulations, about £300 a year. And public and indemnity insurance policy is about £300 a year. So all in all, about £800 a year to become compliant. However, if you are selling your deals through my platform, through the Property Investor app, you don't need to be compliant because I already am. So you're co-sourcing with me, because the investors buying the deals from the Property Investor app and they're not buying it from you guys. It means that you don't need to, you guys don't need to be compliant because I already am. So you're working off the back of my compliance. Does that make sense? So guys, there we have it. Hopefully you've enjoyed the session. Hopefully you've taken away lots of information from that. If there are any questions, please feel free to get in contact. Again, happy to have a chat on the phone if you'd like, or send me an email. And as always, I look forward to speaking to you all very soon. I wish you all a great rest of the weekend. And any questions, please feel free to reach out. Take care. Thank you and bye-bye.